Haribo. So, this is the social system practicals part. This is, of course, a super precise version of it. Again, there are loads of other details of it, so you can go through if you want. But in my personal understanding, these are more like, just understand and follow. That's it. Just listen and follow. It's like instructions, more like. I am here presenting only things that are more related to personal devotional life, the process. So, this is more or less the sum and substance. The way how a person should live his life in Varnashram as a devotee. So, basically, this whole Varnashram system is designed for detachment of sex life, sex desire, not sex life. There are two different things actually. Detachment of sex is different. Detachment from sex desire is a different thing. Somebody may be a brahmachari but may not be free from sex desire. Somebody may be a grahastha but may be free from sex desire. Sex desire is a different thing. Sex life, living a sex life, that is a different thing. But of course, that doesn't mean you can have an excuse and do. That's not the point. Living sex desire is a very tough thing. So our aim is to give up the sex desire, basically, because that is the thing that keeps us in the material world. Lust is what? Transformation of love. There is lust, so it has to be one of the two. So that is the crux of this whole Varnashram system. That we want to take that attachment to sex and apply it to the Lord, basically, not in the love form and in its true form. So that's why detachment from sex life is the practice that we do in Varnashram, truly speaking. So for that, Grahasthashram, in a sense, actually is not necessary. In fact, the Varna system itself is not necessary. If you only look at the spiritual aim part of it, just detachment from sex and then obey God and go back to God. But then the thing is, it's not always easy for us to do. And also we have got this society, so we have got this body, so maintenance and all these things are there. Just from a logical point of view, don't go into details of why Varnas are not required or required. So Brahmana, he can have three things. He can remain brahmachari, or he can remain brahmachari and directly take sannyas. Remain brahmachari for life, basically. And brahmachari and then sannyas directly at the end of his life. Or he can be brahmachari, take grahasthashram, vanaprastha and sannyas. So he can go through this gradual cycle. So as I said, as I have written here, there are two ways which we can give up a particular attachment usually. This we follow in everyday life also. Say somebody is smoking, so there are two ways. Either you leave it gradually or abruptly. Abruptly meaning just don't do it, finish. So there are two understandings. So abstaining from sex life helps to curb the sex desire, helps. So that's why this is like, one way. Just don't do it, finish. That's very good. This is gradual, slowly. That's also very good. Whichever works. It's, in my personal understanding, it's not like which way is faster. It's like what suits you. What suits you. And this may be faster for some people, and this may be faster for some other. So it depends on personal nature. So Brahmana, he can lead three things, three types of. And then for Kshatriya, he can be brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha. Sannyas usually is not for the Kshatriyas. Vaishyas, brahmachari and grahastha. For Shudras, grahastha only. For woman class, usually it is grahastha, and kind of Vanaprastha, but not exactly Vanaprastha. She accompanies the husband during Vanaprastha and Sannyas, not Sannyas time, but during Vanaprastha time, so that he prepares for Sannyas. But after his preparation is done, she comes back home and stays in her house as an ascetic, really. Spending most of her time into God consciousness, direct activities of God consciousness, setting an example for the family. So that is very good. So, but truly speaking, irrespective of all this, the most important thing is this, the faster process. Chanting Hare Krishna Mantra. Yuga Dharma is more important. But again, as we said, both are needed. You cannot only do this. That becomes problematic, extremely problematic. Because we are not at the stage of Haridas Thakur and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, this and this, both are necessary. And as far as this is concerned, even here, it is nothing like somebody has got a better chance for devotional life and somebody has a lesser. Absolutely not. It has more to do with your internal self, internal practice. As they say, sadhana, sadhaka. So, sadhaka is like a practitioner. He practices things. It's not up to the mark, but he practices it. So, this internal sadhana is such an important thing. It does not matter what you are doing, sincerely speaking. What matters is why you are doing it. And the reason this becomes important is because we want to develop rati for somebody. Rati is attachment. Now, this concept is so crucial. In fact, is one of the things very desperately. कळकळीने सांगायचं. In Marathi they say, कळकळीने means with great desperation. I wish to tell is that this is a very important thing. Many people blunder in this. What happens is, we do our daily activities, but we begin with saying, okay, we are doing it for Krishna, but over a period of time, we end up doing it for some other person. We don't keep consciously track of, this is for Krishna, this is for Krishna. So that is very important to do. For example, if some husband is there, a family is there, husband is there, wife and children. The husband goes to his office. Things are not very easy. We all know this. No matter what you are in the corporate office or any other working job, whatever you have, it doesn't matter big or small. There are loads of difficulties. Your boss is a problem, your colleagues are backbiting, and the workload is huge. The fellow is bleeding to his, it doesn't matter what he is doing. It doesn't matter. Even if he is a CEO of the company, he doesn't want to do it. So try to understand the whole life, the prime of a person's life, he spends the youthful time, 25 to say around 50, 60 years, 60 age. That is a youth time, maximum energy. He spends that amount of his life in place where he doesn't want to be. He serves people that he doesn't like, who hate him literally, and he hates them. And he is doing job that he doesn't like. And that too, if you calculate in a day's time, he spends the prime amount of time of the day. Morning 9 to 5, say for example, or 7 to whatever. That period, the freshest and the most youthful period of the day also, he spends with people he doesn't like, with a job he doesn't like to do, with people who hate him, he doesn't like them either. But he has to smile and all these things. Why does this fellow do such big sacrifices? He goes to office and he is insulted so many times. But he has to say, oh, thank you very much for the insult. Why? Why does he tolerate all this? Why does he take so much of troubles? Because at the back of his mind, he knows, I am doing this so that my family can live happily. Because of this thought at the back of his mind, our back of our minds are so important area, such an important area. That has to be keep reminding. He keeps reminding himself, why I am taking this trouble. In fact, he loves taking trouble. So, it's something like, it's called the burden of love, I suppose. So, it's a burden, you don't like it actually, but you do it. Because you, at the back of your mind, you know, if I work hard here, then, somebody whom I love will live in peace. It will live in happiness. So, that back of the mind develops attachment for the person who is doing it. He's doing it for wife and children. If he's doing his job for wife and children whole life, at the end of his life, he'll develop certainly very great attachment to, what to speak of end of his life, even during, he will develop great attachment to the family and children. Very difficult. That's why one should be extremely conscious and consciously, vigilantly every single moment, replace that whoever is there with the Lord. Then it becomes right. And it is not only with the grahastha devotees who are working out. Nothing, absolutely not. Any devotee. I was saying brahmacharis, absolutely anyone. Brahmachari also temple. You start with something, but then you end up doing something else over a period of time. We end up taking shelter of some local person. To be frank, some there will be criticism if I say something. But then, it's in vogue, should I say, to take shelter of some godfather and to be safe in certain places. So that you unknowingly, the person first you started to do something for Krishna, but then that eventually, because out of fear or greed, that person is shifted and some other godfather is placed there. Then over a period of time, what happens is he loses the track of life, sincerely. He loses the aim of life. Then year after year, month after month, devotional life is going on, daily routine of chanting, dancing and everything is going on, but then the point is missed. That rati is not developed. That becomes the problem. So, one should be very, very, very conscious and vigilant about whom I am doing it for. At the back of my mind, whom I am taking all this trouble for. So, that is extremely important. So, it doesn't matter what we are doing, sincerely. It does not matter absolutely where we are. It's immaterial, sincerely speaking. It's immaterial. What body you are, it's immaterial. Whom you are doing it for, that is extremely important. So, alright, so this is a very important thing that we discussed now. Another thing is that regarding formal sannyas, only these two stages, like Brahmana, and either he goes through Grahastha, Vanaprastha, or he directly takes sannyas. So that is formal sannyas. This is the only two cases. And extremely rare cases of Kshatriya, but I am not saying it because all practical purposes we should not. There is no, Prabhupada does not give any practical example of some historical personality in Srimad Bhagavatam or anywhere taking sannyas who was a Kshatriya. So, but as far as sannyas is concerned, karma phala tyaga sannyas, everyone has to take. Everybody has to take. Woman, Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahman. If you are a devotee, you must take. And there is no age limit for this sannyas. In fact, you should start instantly. Internally, everybody should be a sannyasi. Why you are doing it? Sir, Krishna is my duty. There is no desire for gain. Why? It's like, in Kurukshetra war or in any, dharmic yuddha. Many people knew they will die. In Kurukshetra war, Bhishma knew he will die. Dronacharya knew he will die. They all knew that the Kauravas are going to die. In Pandava's side also, it's not that everyone was Arjuna or Bhima or somebody, that he will fight it out with, many of them knew that I'm not very great and most likely I will die, I'm on the forefront. But then he still does it. Not that he does not have family. He still does it. Why? Because they know, a devotee especially, he knows that according to Varnashram, this is my duty. It's my duty to fight. It does not matter I live or die. As a Kshatriya, it's my duty to protect the citizens. I will fight. I know I will die. So there is no question of there is no question of personal choice. Even Dronacharya was there. His duty was to teach as a teacher, as a Brahman. In his Gurukul, there was one personality who was destined and born rather to kill Dronacharya. It was Drushtadumna. Drushtadumna came to this thing, and he was admitted in Dronacharya's Gurukul to learn archery, and both of them knew that he is going to kill Dronacharya. But still, he did his duty. There is no question of gain or loss. It's only the question of duty. And as a devotee, you do it knowing that this will please the Lord. Knowing that this will please the Lord. There are many cases like that. So, either you are only following the slow process of Varnashram or the fast process. In either case, this concept is very clear. In India, it was very common earlier. ये तो मेरा फर्ज है, ये तो मेरा कर्तव्य है. कर्तव्य, it's my duty. It's like, some government official here or some Kshatriya, he helps somebody, and so thank you. No, don't thank me, it is my duty. So it is my duty. There's nothing ifs and buts and that. Just do it, finish. That is what it is. I am giving example of Kshatriya only or Brahman only, but it applies to everyone. There is no question of gain or loss. The only gain is you develop attachment for the Lord. Finish. Lord is pleased, I don't care anything else. So even life, giving up life is not a big deal. As long as you do your duty, which pleases the Lord. So that this is more or less it. As far as sannyas is concerned, only these two categories can take formal sannyas. Therefore formal sannyasis are usually less, very less. And others, everyone should take karmaphala sannyas. And I am showing this arrow at both the places because this formal sannyas is also karmaphala tyag sannyas. Karmaphala tyag sannyas is mandatory for all Vaishnavas. Mandatory. At any stage, you should instantly take karmaphala sannyas. Karmaphala sannyas is internal basically. It is my duty to serve. To serve Krishna is my duty, and I must do it, no matter what it takes. And then chanting will go on simultaneously. So this is more or less it for personal Krishna consciousness as process of life is concerned. This probably may need a bit of confirmation. I am just a bit because Prabhupada did not say this directly. Remain only brahmacharya, but I suppose it should be. And even for Kshatriyas, maybe that's a part of study. Some important points, extremely important things. Test of success, as we discussed already. If you are not developing attachment, then you should, then it is becoming waste really. So this was, na utpadayeda yadiratim. If rati is not developing, what are you doing for? Envy in classes. This is an important concept. As we discussed regarding the principles of political system, we all come together for a common cause. Like in a boat, as I gave example, like in a boat, big boat, all of these different people, they want to go to their mainland. They want to go to the shore, to their home. If they don't get this confirmation that they will not reach, They don't get the confirmation that, oh, we will reach the land safe. We are heading towards the land. Then nobody will cooperate. Why should I cooperate? It is as simple as that. So as long as they are convinced, yes, I am going in the right direction, they all will cooperate. Because they have the same aim. This Varnashram is actually the people in Varnashram, they act more as a cooperative body, one body, than segregated units. Like in so-called modern society, everybody is an individual. Separatist, what is it for me, or it's more like selfish actually. We don't act as whole society for a single aim that we all have. It's not like that. Because they have forgotten the aim of life. But Varnashram is a cooperative society. It's a very strong bonding and mutually cooperating society. Where everybody knows they all have to go back to Godhead. Nobody takes this material life extremely seriously. The attachments and these things it was all understood that this is all not our aim, we have to actually go back to Godhead. Most of them, all of them knew in some way or other. Moksha, some may call it. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So, they all knew it already. So, it was more a cooperative body, and that's why, but today's modern society, we don't have this idea of cooperative body for a particular aim. So, we get confused about, oh, won't there be envy? It is like, friends cooperating, some friends coming together in a college and cooperating to form a big orchestra and do some presentation or do a drama. So somebody has to lead, somebody executes. So these different roles are there. But everybody cooperates. Nobody is forced to, but they do cooperate. And everybody, the whole team acts as a united body. And there is no somebody is less or more. There is nothing like that. Everybody is important. Somebody at the backstages in the dressing room, he is also important. Everyone is important. That's why because they all know that our aim is going to be fulfilled. So if the government gives this, confidence in the people that yes, you want to go back to Godhead, we are making a system by which you will go back to God, and we are all helping. They all will cooperate. And Varnashram is also is a society like that. We all cooperate so that we understand, we are helping each other to go back to Godhead. That is it. That's why there is no envy. Because they all know they are going back to Godhead. We are helping each other for the same goal. Protection of citizens, extremely important topic. And non-violence of Kshatriyas. I'll give you 2 examples. Non-violent Kshatriyas, sometimes, it becomes a big issue. If the Kshatriya is non-violent for some reason or other, then what happens is, in Mahabharata there are 2 examples. One is the kingdom of Virat and there was a kingdom of Dhritarashtra. Both are more or less the same case. Dhritarashtra was too much attached to his son out of parental affection. So, he overlooked his faults. Therefore, there was tyranny. Duryodhana did what he wanted to do and the people suffered. Although the king is very good, but he is acting non-violently. Or Virat's kingdom also same thing. His reason was not parental affection. His reason was he thought he was helpless because Kichak was protecting him, protecting his kingdom. Kichak was a strong general in his army. So that's why Kichak became more powerful than Virat himself. Like in case of Kurukshetra, Duryodhana became more powerful than Dhritarashtra. And then there was tyranny, both places more or less. That's how Draupadi was a little bit insulted there in Virat's kingdom when they were in incognito. So the cause doesn't matter. For any reason, if the Kshatriya starts to act non-violently, the people suffer. why I gave this example is because some way or other, as of at least today, ISKCON faces a little bit of this problem. And there is a reason for that. Although with all respects to all the sincere Vaishnavas working very hard to maintain ISKCON, I sincerely wish to present this only in a view of establishing Varnashram in the right manner. So thing is, what is happening is, for some reason, the GBCs are not powerful enough, because of which then things are not very proper at the second tier. And then general populace, it becomes problematic for them. So protection is extremely important for Kshatriyas if he becomes non-violent for some reason. Now, this happens at least in ISKCON. What happens is the top class, the GBCs, they are made of sannyasis. And sannyasis are supposed to practice non-violence. But Kshatriya, if he practices non-violence, then people suffer. Kshatriya becomes non-violent. Now, in ISKCON, because Varnashram is not established, sannyasi is doing a job of Kshatriya. And he practices his non-violence, but then he terribly fails in his duty as a Kshatriya. I'm not sure if I'm making my point clear. Nothing to blame anybody. They're all amazing Vaishnavas. Saved ISKCON so much after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance. That is such a great responsibility, and sincerely speaking, ISKCON has been saved after Prabhupada. All the credit goes to them, and all the devotees who sacrifices so much. But then the fact remains, if Varnashram has to be established, sannyasis cannot be on an administrative post. Sannyasis cannot be on an administrative post. Because he cannot practice non-violence. Or if he has to practice violence, then he cannot be sannyasi. So both things are mandatory. That as a sannyasi, you do only sannyas. You do only this. That is primarily a job of grahasthas, sincerely speaking. Management is more like for grahasthas, as Prabhupada also says in some places, if I'm not mistaken. So, protection of citizens is extremely important. That's why protection of citizens actually means establishment of Varnashram. And if there is no Varnashram is Krishna's system of management. If there is no Varnashram, then it doesn't matter what Maya system we have, there will be tyranny, there will be problems, it will not be peaceful. And what to speak of, aim of life, there will not be any normal peaceful living also. So, and the role of sannyasi. This is another very interesting thing that happens in ISKCON. I read one article regarding this given by the GBCs, published by the GBCs. There is a conflict, but there is a difficulty in understanding how to cope up with the spiritual authority and the service authority, so called. And we are like, devotees are like, what to do if two different people are there? They have clarified the understanding in that document. But sincerely speaking, I did not understand it. Probably I am not well qualified. But I'll just share my humble understanding regarding this subject as I understand this Varnashram. Sannyasi is a spiritual authority, and his so-called service authority are according to his Varna. According to his Varna, wherever he is situated, he will have some person above him. Even somebody is a Brahman, he will have somebody. He may have somebody. Like, if he is in a Gurukul or something, he may have some head, this thing, and all that structure will be there. But, and as Kshatriya also, they all have somebody. So as in their Varnashram duties, whatever is happening is happening. That is in Varna duty, sorry, not ashram, Varna duties. Whatever is happening is by their natural course of Varna. Sannyasi is a spiritual authority. He only tells how to perform your devotional life in the situation that he is in currently. But sannyasi does not interfere, the spiritual authority does not interfere in the happenings of his life to mold or change it. He just tells in whatever condition Lord has put you in, kept you in today, how should you perform your devotional life? How should you enhance your devotional life? That is it. That is his business. It does not interfere in, political, you have problem, come, I will solve it. Who is giving you problem? That is not the job of sannyasi. He only tells whatever situation you are, how to perform your devotional life properly. He may give a little advice, but he does not himself interferes into situations, matters. Political matter. That is not his job. In case of Maharaj Yudhishthir, Dhaumya Rishi was his priest, was the priest of the Brahman of Pandavas. Dhaumya Rishi was there when in the Asat Sabha, when the Draupadi incident happened. Gambling match, Dhaumya Rishi was there, but he did not say anything. And when Pandavas were exiled to forest, he was also there. He went along with them. And when Pandavas went to the forest, Yudhishthira Maharaj took guidance from him. Now how to do, how to perform my devotional service and everything. At that time, the Brahmanas and saintly people, they narrate him the story of Nala Damayanti. Yudhishthira Maharaj actually asked them, was there a king in past who suffered more than I did? Then they tell, yes, there was a king who suffered even more than you did. Then they tell the story of Nala Damayanti. Of course, Nala Damayanti is not very, let's not go into that. But the point is, he did not interfere into it. He did not say, I will use my Brahmanical power and correct the situation today. He didn't do that. He just told, in the given situation Lord has kept you in, how will you perform your devotional service very nicely? That is it. But according to Varna, he has to perform his duty. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj performed his duty according to his Varna. He was in exile, Dhaumya Rishi gave him advice. He was a king, Dhaumya Rishi gave him advice. How to perform his devotional life properly. That was the thing. Actually, sannyasi is more like that. Actually, sannyasi is like that. That is my humble understanding. Things are very simple and crystal and clear, and they are two separate things. Service authority is a very different thing. And in whatever condition Lord has put you in, how you will perform your devotional life, that the sannyasi tells you. He is the spiritual guide. Detachment from sex desire. We all discussed this, especially for Vanaprastha. Grahastha devotees, Prabhupada stressed a lot, and that's why I am taking this. Taking Vanaprastha is not exactly, at least in India, it's not exactly coming to practice very much, should I say. Not sufficiently at least. At least till today, 2017. As Prabhupada says, civil suicide, that helps a lot. Like Brahmachari, he does civil suicide pretty early, at least in ISKCON. And then, for a Vanaprastha or Grahastha, civil suicide is very good. If he does it as early as possible, that is very good. This is very mandatory. I am not going into detail of this, but you all understand it. Bhiksha, this is a very good thing. Giving dana for a Grahastha is very important. And giving bhiksha also. Bhiksha is like, somebody comes to your door, some Brahman comes, or some Brahmachari comes, or some Grahastha, some Vanaprastha or Sannyasi comes and begs alms. You should give. Now what happens? Just imagine in a small society, in a village, all houses, they practice Varnashram. So the situation is, there will always be somebody in their house, some way connected, either elderly who has taken sannyas, who is a sannyasi or a vanaprasthi, who is not living in house but is living on bhiksha, alms. Or there will be somebody, some child or a boy in their home who has gone to Gurukul and he is also begging for bhiksha. They all know it, and there will always be somebody connected who has taken sannyas, who is begging alms basically in the society. They all know it. So there is a natural tendency to give bhiksha. There is a natural tendency to give bhiksha because they all know that even my son is there, even my father is there, even my elders are there. They also are begging bhiksha. Of course, it is understood that some vanaprastha is there and he goes back to his own home and begs bhiksha. That is not the point. That is understood. So they all understand. As a unit, they understand. Oh, everybody is, we have to feed them. That is the point. Because they are all our people, our kins. So this tendency to give dana and bhiksha becomes extremely strong when there is complete setup of varnashram proper. And vanaprasthis, sannyasis and brahmacharis are actually going and asking bhiksha. That becomes very easy. There is a natural tendency to keep them. So bhiksha is very wonderful point. Cow protection. Cow protection, I don't need to tell about why cow is important and everything. That is needless to say. But this cow protection has a lot to do with demand than slaughterhouses. Slaughterhouses are just a middle part. They are not the root of it. It's like, you cut the weed from the top, it will again grow because the root is still there. So, stopping slaughterhouses is not the solution, sincerely speaking. Stop changing the demand of people. That is the solution. Now, how was, with all respects to all the British, I have nothing against them, but just telling you the situation. When they came to India, they saw there were more cows in India than people in India. So milk and even ghee milk was given like water to anybody, and ghee was available in plenty. It was so cheap. Anybody asked ghee also pure clarified butter. Anybody would give, and making preparation means there has to be ghee. There was a conception, and then all this Western culture came and everything, and then they started this oil, refined oil and everything. Over a period of time, then influenced by the propaganda, people started using oil, and the demand for ghee started reducing. The demand for cow's milk started increasing. The demand for buffalo's milk increased, and so cow's milk decreased. So if there is no demand, why should people keep cows? People are not so spiritually advanced that they will give up all practices and everything. They will give up their profit. People are not exactly like that. So that's why demand has to increase. Then now for ghee's demand to increase, oil's demand should decrease. If oil is same level, if everybody is using oil, then you cannot artificially pump and give some artificial respiration to somehow or other push and keep it alive. It doesn't work like protect cows and everything, remove slaughter. It doesn't work like that. Just imagine if today in India or all over the world, instead of oil they were using ghee. Naturally there will be all over cows in India or all over the world in fact. If you use ghee instead of oil, there will be a lot of cows automatically. So problem is not slaughterhouses. Problem is oil. Demand is the problem. That's why it's my sincere request, if we can afford ghee, I know ghee is extremely tough to get even in India, even in Vrindavan. Cow's ghee is extremely tough to get. Pure cow's ghee. So but it is very good if our restaurants can, instead of oil, if we start using ghee. If you are using in Govinda's restaurant, if you are using oil, then you are acting exactly opposite to the purpose of why restaurants are there in ISKCON. If you have ghee, then cows will have demand. ghee, butter, all these things, then they will have demand. If you just keep restaurants for the sake of, then it becomes problem. Then you are killing the cows. Then you are increasing slaughterhouses. Then you are saying, oh, oil is better than ghee. We don't require ghee sincerely. You are doing very great disservice. And those devotees whom Lord has given some riches, they should make a point that they should all use as much ghee, cow's ghee as possible, sincerely speaking. It will help a lot to protect cows. Automatically, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to fight for closing slaughterhouses and everything. They will automatically get closed. When there is demand, they will not cut the cow. Simple. So I'm like, these things are all connected. Farms are there, so if you artificially keep a lot of cows but then there is no demand, then again it becomes a problem. So at least in ISKCON we can create a lot of demand for cows. Ghee especially. Because why ghee I am saying? Because ghee is 1 liter of ghee is equal to somewhere around people. It depends on the variety of cow. Some 15 to 25 liters of milk. 15 to 25 liters of milk. 1 liter of ghee. I may be wrong. Please correct. But lot of milk basically. Last but absolutely not the least. No duplicity. I didn't cover this topic in the principles of Varnashram. This applies to the entire presentation. This word ignorance is a very interesting word. Ignorance is not something we cannot see. But you choose to ignore to see things that are self-evident, owing to some other attachment. Like, if there is some TV serial going on, or some movie going on, but then you have some studies to do. You see there is a book, but then because you are attached to the television, you choose to ignore it. You choose to ignore that you are supposed to study. I am just giving a gross example of a student. It is true with everyone. In all circumstances, ignorance comes because we are attached to something else. We choose to ignore things that are self-evident. We choose to ignore things that are self-evident. That is ignorance. It's not that ignorance means they are invisible. No. Very interesting word, ignorance. And this is especially if applied to internal self. Duplicity is such an important thing. Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, it is so much of a problem. Speaking truth, this is another. Speaking truth is such an important concept. Somehow or other in Kali Yuga, it has been in vogue that, if you have to live in this world, you have to be smart. In other words, cheat or be duplicitous. In management especially I have seen, they don't have a conception of management without duplicity. Imagine Yudhishthir Maharaj was well known, renowned for truthfulness, and he was the top class politician. Politics does not need you to lie. You don't need to lie in politics. You don't need to lie in management. You don't need it. The problem is nobody has taught us the right way of management. It's not needed, sir. You don't need to tell lies for management or doing something. For no reason, people in Kali Yuga somehow they're lying for no reason. No reason they are lying. They don't understand one lie, how much punishment is there. Anyways, we are not going. Point is, this affects so badly our devotional life. Over a period of time, we are lying. There is, in Varnashram system, everybody is supposed to speak truth. If you constantly speak truth, you will understand, or things are very different, If somebody is duplicitous, then his prayers will not carry meaning. Usually, sometimes devotees, they ask me, Prabhuji, When I pray, I don't feel it. It doesn't come. The reason is because you have practiced duplicity in your life. In your daily life, you say something and you don't feel it because you are not practicing truthfulness. You are not practicing truthfulness. You practice truthfulness. Speak only truth in your daily life. If somebody says, oh, Prabhuji, my prayers doesn't count meaning, I tell them, I have a very standard personal answer. Pay the price to speak only truth in your daily life. Pay the price to speak only truth in your daily life. Of course, it is a little scary. Unfortunately, this is Kali Yuga. So people say, oh, it takes a lot of courage to speak truth. Actually, it should be exactly opposite. You should take a lot of courage to speak a lie. Shouldn't it be that way? But this appears more appealing. The reason is because we have practiced ourselves of not speaking truth. That's why it says, oh, it takes a lot of courage to speak truth. This is Kali Yuga, unfortunately. But spiritual standards don't change just because it is Kali Yuga. You have to come to that stage of purity. So truth is mandatory. Speaking truth is mandatory. Please don't quote examples of, oh, Yudhishthira Maharaj also lied in some cases or something. Lord was personally telling him. We must be moral. Morality is mandatory. It's very, very moral. I know what price you have to pay. People will consider you a fool. All these things are there. But who told Lord is cheap? After all, steps to absolute truth cannot be made of falsity. You think so? Lord is absolute truth. Going to Him, the steps, do you think they will be made of falsity or duplicity? It won't work. The whole thing will collapse if there is duplicity. The best way to begin, is to start speaking truth to yourself. You may not be able to do it outside, externally, out of habit, but at least to yourself you should know that is a very good start. Not saying that you are, please do not mistake me, most of you, all of the devotees must be doing, I'm just telling my own reflections. Things become very tough, either ways. Duplicity, then you miss the aim of life. If you are truthful, then you have to go beard. Probably I spoke too much truth. Ignorance, and of course this point is there. Now, this is more or less it. In summary, the most important thing in this is to constantly vigil ourselves at the back of your mind, not front necessarily, back of your mind. So, front of your mind if you are, then back will, constantly keep hitting, consciously do it. So, back of your mind, whom you are serving, that person you will develop rati for. No matter what you do. For Brahmanas, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha sannyas, or Brahmachari or direct sannyas, these two are formal sannyas. They can take formal sannyas or remain only Brahmachari. This is a matter of study, by the way. Kshatriyas, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha. Vaishyas, Brahmachari, Grahastha. Shudras, only Grahastha. Woman class, Grahastha, and live a life of ascetic after the person has gone to sannyas. Or taken Vanaprastha completely. But this is only Varnashram part. Along with that, even more important part is chanting Hare Krishna mantra. The Yuga Dharma is more important. But even this is also important. Both things should go simultaneously. But as far as sannyas is concerned, everyone has to take karma phala sannyas, and you don't need to wait for your old age to do this. Whatever age you have currently, you should do karma phala sannyas. The mentality to serve Krishna is my duty and I must do it. That mentality is karma phala sannyas. That is mandatory for all Vaishnavas. Instantly you should do it. Start practicing it. Regarding test of success, we discussed this. Envy in classes. If everybody knows that I am going back to Godhead, then there will be no envy. There will be cooperation. And we all act as a one body to help each other go back to Godhead. Protection of citizens. Kshatriya cannot be non-violent for any reason. Cannot be non-violent. This is one thing that should be clearly understood. Otherwise, it creates a bit of problem. Role of sannyasi, service authority and spiritual authority. Please correct me if I am wrong at this. I just told my humble understanding. Detachment from sex desire is the goal of is the crux of Varnashram. Only Varnashram I am saying, not even this of course. But as far as Varnashram is concerned, the detachment of sex life is the crux. Either you do it instantly by becoming brahmachari whole life or go through vanaprastha, but this is mandatory. Not that only grihastha. And Prabhupada stressed a lot, and that's why I am adding it here, which is called civil suicide. Give up all attachment for all family members, so-called family members. Bhiksha, we clarified this point. I mean, giving bhiksha becomes easy if you're somebody vanaprastha or brahmachari in your house, they are also asking, or sannyasi, they are asking bhiksha. You know, my house members are also outside asking bhiksha. So it's very easy for you to, natural tendency to give bhiksha and dana also. But to a proper recipient. Cow protection. Increasing demand is the right way. Not only simply working for stopping slaughterhouses. It will not work. No duplicity. At least you should begin with start speaking truth to yourself. Then it works. And please pay the price to speak only truth in daily life. Because steps to absolute truth cannot be made of falsity. So the whole system will collapse if there is duplicity. Very dangerous thing. So this is more or less it. Now one point I wanted to say is this all we discussed, this political system, the social system, the philosophical part of it, or the principles as Prabhupada called it, is it the process of devotional service? Are these the maps of process of devotional service? Yes and no. Yes and no. Why? Because it is like, say we are talking of the elephant, the structure of the elephant, for example. Are we talking of the head of the elephant? Yes, but no. We are actually talking of the elephant itself, but not exactly, the topic is not centralized to head of the elephant. So the details of the head of the elephant are not covered. This is a different topic. This is a different topic. Although this is included, this cannot be separate. Likewise, Varnashram devotional service is mandatory. It is included. Without devotional service, there is no meaning to discussing all this. But are these the maps or these things of discussion of devotional service specifically? No. That map will be different, and it will be even more enchanting and more beautiful, and very, very interesting, extremely satisfying to the heart. But this is not exactly for devotional service specifically, because there are so many critical elements that we left out, and the map will be completely different, sincerely speaking. This is a completely different thing. So this is not exactly the topic of devotional service specifically in details or everything. That's a different topic. This is more to do with Varnashram, the establishment. That is the aim of this presentation, project itself. So please make this point clear. Although we are talking a lot about devotional service also in this, but critical things, that map will be different. A lot of other different things will come there. So at the end, I would like to apologize if some devotee felt offended or something. For that was not my purpose. And the purpose of presenting this project is so that the system, Krishna's system of Varnashram and Prabhupada's desire of Varnashram can be established in ISKCON, so that we all help each other go back to Godhead. But if some devotee feels some way offended or something, please know that was not my purpose. But in any case, please excuse me if I have said something inappropriate. My study is absolutely not complete as such, so there might be some things that may not be correct. So please correct me in this. But principally, more or less, there shouldn't be problem. But again, thank you for tolerating me. There is something wrong. Please have mercy upon me.